Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and my first video of the year, so fun for that. And we're going to be doing a deck profile of the new Surge Leader, Super Saiyan Son Goku, the red and yellow one. It took me quite a bit to figure out what the best way to run this guy, and I don't think this is the best way quite yet, but I really think this is in practice, this guy is going to be very useful and really kind of pushes a kind of control kind of archetype, because red and yellow has a lot of disruption, and the awakening ability of this leader as well just has tons of disruption as well. So let's get into it. So when this card attacks, draw 2 cards, then choose 1 card in your hand and place it into your drop area, which is a really nice ability. It's kind of sucks that it's on attack, but still, it's really great. And I mean, since it is on attack, you have an excuse to be really aggressive. And being able to just filter your hand out with cards you don't need is great. And we get there's some synergy with this in our deck later as well. And then this also is the new Awakened Surge, which means that you choose 1 red card and 1 yellow card in your hand, place them under this card. You may draw 3 cards, then choose up to 1 of your energy, switch to active mode, and flip this card over. So being able to just kind of redo your hand a little bit, awaken whenever you need to, and all that. I think this is I think Surge is going to be very important coming up. So and then on the awaken side, so active battle R main, once per turn, if your life is at 5 or less, and you choose 1 card under this card and place it in your owner's drop area, choose 1. You can choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate their skills for duration of the turn, or this card gains plus 10k power and critical for duration of the turn. Both these are fantastic. The crit one is, obviously for more aggressive archetypes, but the one I really like and focusing on for this deck in particular is they choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate their skills for duration of the turn. That's just shuts down so much. It's really control heavy too, because at any time your opponent has to decide, okay, if they have like a triple strike triple strike or double strike, and at any time they have to realize like, oh, I can just shut this off without losing any pure card advantage in hand. So they have to be really careful about how they go in, and it gives your opponents options to do things, which means they can make the wrong option, make the wrong choice, and you can capitalize on it. So I really like that and everything around it. So there is that. Now, the backbone of this deck is the Villainous archetype, which hasn't seen a lot of love, and I understand why, because it's kind of clunky. But I really wanted to make it work, and the big interaction that I wanted was with Villainous Counter-Strike. So this is a permanent Villainous. This is a Villainous card, and then also it says active battle. Your opponent has a skillless battle card in play. Choose any number of your opponent's battle cards with total energy cost of 4 or less, in which the total cost adds up to 4 or less, and send them to their owner's warp. So this is pretty good, except for you have to have that skillless card in play. But the real kicker is that if you use Son Goku's ability to wipe all the abilities of your opponents clean, then this means that Villainous Counter-Strike goes into active. It's skillless and meets the conditions for Villainous Counter-Strike. So you can use this to just clean up your opponent's board. If you're swinging with a 4-drop or less, even if they have barrier, right? They think they're safe. They're swinging with some, a big barrier dude. You can remove a card, and then even if you do this during your awakening, you can awaken, untap 1 energy, and then you have Villainous Counter-Strike up. So really great there. So not only does it clear that, but if you also have some of these other villainous cards just chilling on the board, they have to warp cards from their hands too. So very, very destructive there, and it's very fun when this goes off. So the other 2 villainous cards, there's Beerus, Destructive Villain. So this is Beerus. If you're running a Villainous archetype, you have to pretty much run Beerus because it's the cheapest one, and it's a 2-drop. But so once again, Villainous. When you play another Villainous battle card, activate Villainous extra card skill. Your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, place it in the drop area, then negate their skill negate this skill for duration of the turn. So being able to just ping cards over your opponent's hand for doing stuff you're doing already is great. And then also auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 Beerus card in your drop area with an energy cost of 3 or more, add it to your hand, and then if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, also draw 1 card. So we see this a little bit. We have some 3 and 5 drop Beeruses. You can do some really neat things where you surge, you put a Beerus under your leader, you use the surge effect, put in your drop area, and then you can get back with 2 drop Beerus. But and just in general, when we swing, we put cards into our drop area. So if we know that we're going to be playing a Beerus later, we can drop a 3 or 5 drop Beerus, and then we just get it back. So really helpful there, and just some recursion. And if we're going minus in hand, then we can get an extra draw as well. And then the other Villainous one is the Super Baby 2 Destructive Villain. So this one's a little less good, but so it's crit Villainous. So I mean, crit 15k that also drops cards from your opponent's hand isn't too terrible. And also auto when your leader activates Awaken or Wish, this card gets plus 15k power and dual attack for duration of the turn. So that's really nice too. And as far as we know, Awaken Awaken Surge is a subset of Awaken, so it works. Don't argue about this. This is a ruling right now. If it changes, I'll let you guys know. But this is how it's currently ruled, especially with the Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku as well. So this goes off. If you can surge whenever you want, and then it gets the plus 15k in dual attack, so now you have a dual attack 30k crit, which is really great. That also is Villainous, and then you can combo off there. So it's okay. I don't know. If this was like a 2 cost, I'd like it a lot more, but it's not, and I guess that's all right. So there's some other cards. So 3-drop Beerus, this card's fantastic. It's a 1-drop crit with 15k, and then you can recycle with 2-drop Beerus. It makes a lot of sense. It becomes a 1-drop if you have a red-yellow multicolor, which we were going to have turn 1, so there we go. Next up we have the 5-drop Beerus. So this is just really good for defensive plays as well. And you can just really pop cards additionally when they're not expecting it. So it's a rival for 2, so it's a little bit costly, but being able to KO something with 30k power or less is great, especially if you like after image technique them, and so they're less than they think they're at, and then so you can hit something with like a 40k or something if you after image it first. So that's helpful, and yep, just great card there. Let's just go down the line. So next up is Broly, Crown of Retribution. This card's fantastic. If your leader card is red, when you play this card from your hand, if your opponent has 2 or more energy in active mode, your opponent reveals their hand, and if they do, choose up to 1 battle card with it 20k power or less and place it in your opponent's drop area. So if they're just sitting with energy open, you can just play this card whenever you want, and then your opponent has to decide, oh, do I play Vegeta the Cruel on this, and then I can do something about it, or do I just they get rid of 2 of my energy for 1, or do I just let them pitch the important card in my hand? Like it's really this card could be really, really good. It's restricted red leaders, but yeah, it still does a lot of work, and if you could bump this up, maybe you should, but I really like this card. Let's see. Next up we've got, so after image technique, that makes a lot of sense. Frieza Spiteful Strike. So if your leader card is yellow, when you play this card from your hand, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it costs a 6 or less, negate its skill for duration of the turn. So this is just like an alternative way on your turn. If you need to get Villainous Counter Strike up, you can just play Frieza, get rid of the skills of one of your opponent's cards, and then just use Villainous Counter Strike. So one thing to note too is that you just have to have your opponent just has to have 1 skillless battle card in play. After that, it doesn't matter. Like the cards that this sends to the warp, they don't have to be skillless. They just have to be just the 4 energy restrictions. So just an alternate card, and it's yellow, so just put 2 in there. 2 Denial of Hope. Just Denial of Hope's great and really control heavy, and there we go. Whis the Spectator. So this is also kind of like Frieza. So when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and 8 skills for the duration of the turn. So the same thing, but we also want to use this for red-yellow check land. So grid card there. 4-drop Beerus for our super combo. It's Sparking Base, which is good because we're gonna fill up our drop area kind of fast. And we can't recycle this with the 2-drop Beerus. It's just kind of for flavor. You can use any of the Sparking 2-drop yellow ones. 2 Champas because we don't like to, just to be able to go on our crits, especially like our leader can have crit, or the 3-drop crit. That can just devastate them by doing that. So 2 of these can't hurt. Next up, Champa the Trickster. We're running red-yellow and we're being control heavy, so this card's a no-brainer to me. 4 Topos, kind of the same thing, just being able to negate attacks. We should have, since we put cards to the drop area, that sets up our drop and our hand to be able to play like a 2-drop Beerus next turn to get a big +2 and really mitigate the cost for this. And just getting big boys out for counterplay is really how we play this deck. So good card there, and we're destroying their hand too. So if they don't have a hand, they can't swing anymore, and there's that. Next up, we've got King Vegeta and Vegeta Royal Bloodline. So our rival for 1 yellow. This just kind of helps round out the deck. I kind of like this card. Just being able to kind of blow up something and kind of plus out of it too is good. So there is that. 1 Fu the Dark Banisher, because once again we're hand control, and so if we just plop this down, we can just win on the spot. And then also the 8-drop Secret Rare Baby Janemba. This card is strictly because it's really cool, and it's red-yellow, and we're control heavy, so just being able to plop down this guy and make our opponent choose something is great, because either we have this big 40k drop, or they have to lose 3 cards in life and all that, and then also their leader cards gets minus 30k, so anything we play can really ping them. But this I think this is more like a style card. So if you don't have this card, I think 2 Through the Dark Banisher will get you really where you need to go as well. This is a great finisher just in itself, just because your opponent has to we're kind of hand destruction, and so on top of that, Fu's really good. So that's that 50. So additional cards I thought about and didn't put in, Son Goku Nimbus Voyager. This is just great for blowing up something for 1 as well. I think Broly's still better than this with this, nice tech card. Beerus Ball, same kind of thing. Just being able to blow up something. And if we're worried about like Vegeta the Cruel or Champa the Trickster, we're not really worried about it. But if we were, Beerus Ball can work. Is that all you got if we're playing something really aggressive? And we can still negate attack and then go from there. Time Magic because we're yellow, but I think we have enough negates. We have 8 already, but if we need to play against something that Time Magic matters against, then there's that. Same thing with Nimbus, and then also 2-drop Sengoku Saiyan Instinct. This is just good because if we need to recover our hand after we're already awakened, since we don't get any additional draw when we're on our awakened side, we can just have this in our deck and then draw 2 whenever we need to. So I think this is kind of helpful. But yeah, this is the deck. It's right now it's pretty cheap. Not if you're running 2 Fus instead of the Baby Janemba, it's really fun, and you can really catch your opponent off guard, especially with the Villainous Counter-Strike interaction with our leader. And yeah, I really wanted to find something for the Villainous archetype. This is the best I could do, and it just happened to be with the new Surge stuff coming out. So that's that. Let me know what you guys think about this deck. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.